Well, welcome back. You are watching and listening to me, Patrick Christie's, right here on GB News. Now, have we got a nappy crisis? Well, Conservative MP Miriam Cates has warned of the alarming number of young children who start school still wearing nappies. But why? Is this to do with our parenting, or do working families not have time to potty train? Well, last night I spoke to Miriam Cates to get her thoughts.
This is a massive deal for schools, just to start with. You know, I've spoken to head teachers who are having to move teaching assistants down from higher years in primary school into the lower years just to change nappies and clear up mess. So we're talking about children aged 4 and 5. I have heard of children as old as 6 in, so first or second year of primary school. But we're primarily talking about children who start school in nappies. And it isn't just a UK phenomenon. I spoke to a Dutch MP at this conference we're talking about, who said that there's been an extraordinary rise also in Holland of children starting school not wearing nappies. So this is a problem for schools, but it's an even bigger problem for children.
I just find it odd. Look, maybe I'm way out of touch. I'm not a parent, by the way, so going to, throw my hands up to that one. Maybe it is... Well, it already looks pretty difficult, but maybe it's even more difficult. I would have thought, though, that potty training was a basic aspect of parenting, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Joining me now is political commentator Belinda de Lucy. Belinda, thank you very much. Is there any excuse for sending your kid to school in nappies, do you think?
I don't, on the whole, no. I mean, call me old-fashioned, Patrick, but parenting begins at home. It does not begin in the classroom. And I think the more the state intervenes and takes over and substitutes the role of parents, the worse off everyone is. And I think they should be doing less. I think it's deeply unfair on teachers as well. How are we going to attract quality and the best into the teaching profession if they're now expected to pick up and have to fix all of the failure of poor parenting that started in the home? I think there are a number of factors that have led us to this sort of breakdown in just basic duty of care to one's child. And I don't think it is just about cost of living. I think we've got this sort of climate where there's been a social devaluing of parenthood, and the increased screen time for young children has almost encouraged neglectful parenting as well. You can just shove a screen, an iPad in front of a 3-4-year-old, and a parent gets to relax. I think that hasn't helped either. But I do think back in my day, it was about honour. It was about duty and service to your child, this beautiful creature that you've created, to give it the coping mechanisms and the equipment to deal with life and school. So by the time your child is 4, if you've invested in your child up until those years, you will find it much easier, parenthood much easier, and teenhood much easier if you discipline them in their early years. And I do think it's a shame that we now have created this kind of culture where if a school's going to teach your child manners and politeness and respect, why would you have to bother at home? And I think it's a terrible culture, and we should refocus back on the value of motherhood and fatherhood and celebrate them instead of handing it off to the state, because we do not want our children being brought up by the state, Patrick.
So as well, the idea that potty training can be traumatic for the child. I would politely suggest that maybe your child going to school in a nappy and having to have someone change that in front of their very young peers might indeed be more traumatic going forward.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, actually bringing your children up to understand that there are challenges that they must face, that they have to put the work and the effort in to get results. And that can mean a little bit of conflict, but so what? That's your job. You're actually doing your child a huge disservice by not teaching it the basic, equipping it for the just socializing. I think lockdown hasn't helped. And I don't think, you get a lot of middle class, wealthy parents as well, giving their child absolutely everything and never saying no to a child, and this sort of soft touch parenting that hasn't helped, so that when the child suddenly gets into a classroom and hears the word no, they have a tantrum. And that the disruptive behaviour of children in the classroom has been increasing for teachers for years, well before the cost of living crisis. This has been ongoing. Report after report 10, 15 years ago have been of teachers saying saying, they've never experienced such disrespect towards people in authority. And I think that comes from all sorts of backgrounds, whether they're privileged or underprivileged. You need to my mum always said, if you get tough with children, tough love and discipline them in the early years, your job of parenting is 90% done. And we've got to send that message back to parents, and get them to take responsibility for their child rather than handing it off to teachers and the state.
Yes, indeed. Well, I couldn't agree more. Belinda, thank you very, very much. Always great to have your views on the show. That is political commentator Belinda de Lucy. She's in a very forthright mood there. You love to see it. Right, OK,